Welcome back. So, in our world today, it feels like every company is in this mad dash to build and release software faster and faster. But, with all that speed comes a ton of risk. So, how do you do it? How do you innovate at a breakneck pace while keeping your data, your customers, and your entire company safe? Well, the answer, or at least a big part of it, is this thing called DevSecOps. All right, let's get into it. And this really is the question, isn't it? It's the core challenge for just about every modern company out there. The pressure to push out new features, new updates, it's just immense. But at the same time, a single security breach, well, it can be absolutely catastrophic. So you're stuck in this constant tug of war between going fast and being safe. So to really get a handle on DevSecOps, we've got to go back a step and talk about what it's built on, DevOps. Now, before DevOps, you had your development teams and your operations teams living in completely different worlds, in their own separate silos. And this led to these slow, super painful handoffs and, honestly, a lot of friction. DevOps came along and just changed the entire game. And this infinity loop, you've probably seen it. It became the symbol of this whole new philosophy. What it represents is this continuous, never-ending cycle of planning, coding, building, testing, all the way to deploying and operating. By knocking down those walls between dev and ops and automating pretty much everything you could, it made a huge promise, a way to get value to users faster and more reliably than anyone thought possible. And listen, this wasn't just a promise. The results were absolutely staggering. The State of DevOps report found that the best DevOps teams could deploy code 200 times more often. They could get from a line of code being written to it being live in production over 2,500 times faster. And if something broke, they could fix it 24 times faster. I mean, the revolution was real. But there was a problem, a really big one. In this new high-speed world, the old way of doing security, which was designed for these really slow, methodical release cycles, it just couldn't keep up. Security suddenly became the biggest bottleneck in the whole system. Think about it like this. When you treat security like it's just this final gate, this final check right before you release, finding a problem is like discovering a major flaw in a car's engine after it's already rolled off the assembly line. It's slow, it's disruptive, and man, is it expensive to fix. And here's the number that just blows my mind every time. Fixing a security flaw once it's already live in production can cost up to 100 times more than fixing it while a developer is still typing out the code. We are literally talking about the difference between a 5-minute fix and a crisis that takes weeks to resolve. That's a massive and usually avoidable cost. So this old model, it just created a whole host of problems. It caused all this friction. Security teams get that reputation as the Department of No. It slowed everything down, which basically canceled out all the amazing speed you gain from DevOps. It let security issues pile up, creating this dangerous technical debt. And worst of all, it meant more and more vulnerabilities were making it out into the wild, putting us all at risk. Okay, so what's the solution? If waiting until the end is the problem, well, the answer is pretty simple. You start at the beginning. This idea is called shifting left, and it is the absolute heart and soul of DevSecOps. And honestly, this is the best way to think about it. Traditional security was like cramming for a final exam, this high-stakes, super stressful event right at the very end. DevSecOps, though, it's more like studying just a little bit every single day. It's about building security into your daily habits, making it a continuous, less stressful, and way more effective process. And that brings us to the formal definition. DevSecOps isn't some new tool you buy or a new team you hire. It's a whole new approach, both culturally and practically. It says that security isn't just one team's job anymore. Nope, it's a shared responsibility that gets woven into every single phase of building and running software. Okay, so what does shared responsibility really look like day to day? What does it mean in practice? Let's break down how this whole philosophy actually builds a more secure process from start to finish. So instead of that one big security gate at the end, what we have now is this layer of security that's wrapped around the entire DevOps infinity loop. Security checks and activities are built right into the tools and workflows that developers and operations teams are already using every single day. So let's walk through it. It starts way back in the plan phase, where we're thinking about potential threats before a single line of code is even written. Then, as developers code, automated tools are kind of looking over their shoulder, scanning for common mistakes or secrets that shouldn't be there. When we build the software, we're not just compiling it, we're also running what you could think of as a spell check for security bugs on both our own code and any open source libraries we're using. In the test phase, we get more aggressive. We actively try to hack our own application to find weak spots. As we get ready to deploy, we scan the containers and the infrastructure the code will actually run on. And finally, once it's live, we operate with continuous monitoring, always watching for threats in real time. Now, as powerful as all those automated tools are, and they are powerful, they are not the most important part of DevSecOps. The real secret, the thing that makes it all work, is the transformation in culture and mindset. This visual right here, it says it all. DevSecOps is not about just sticking sec in the middle of a diagram. It is about fundamentally changing the fabric of how you build things. It's about moving from security as a barrier to security as an integrated, shared value that everyone cares about. This right here is the mantra. And look, it doesn't mean every developer has to magically become a world-class security expert overnight. What it does mean is that every developer is empowered with the tools and the knowledge to make secure choices. And the security team's role? It shifts from being gatekeepers to being expert guides and enablers for the rest of the organization. And it all rests on just a few core ideas. You've got security as code, which just means your security rules are automated. We've already talked a lot about shift left and automation first. It all comes together with continuous monitoring so you can see what's happening. And of course, that core idea of shared responsibility. The whole point is to help you fail fast, to find and fix issues really early when it's cheap and easy. So we'll end with this question for you to think about. What DevSecOps proves is that when security is integrated from the very start, it stops being this brake that slows you down. Instead, it becomes a guardrail, a safety feature that actually lets you move faster, but with confidence. It transforms security from a bottleneck into a real business accelerator.
If you learned something new in this video, hit that subscribe button. See you in the next bite.